right now. We'll start with volleyball coach Tim Lesh.
Good afternoon, and thanks for covering volleyball today. It's great. We've just completed 2 weeks of preseason, our two-a-days, and things are looking great for UTPB volleyball this season. We've remained healthy, just a few minor things during preseason, so we have very high expectations for the season this year. We've just named our captains as well. We have a couple of fifth-year seniors, Linda Perez and Flava Tulau, as well as a junior, Skylar Frail will also be a captain for us this year. So we've had great leadership, and the players have worked really hard this preseason. We're excited to go and play Mississippi College. They're our opening game, and hopefully you can follow it online. We'll then follow that with Southern Arkansas. We'll play Quincy and Union, so 4 matches in 2 days. Eager to go, players are eager to play, and I also want to invite everybody out to our first home game, which is on 9/11 here. We'll open our conference schedule with Eastern New Mexico. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Coach, thoughts on being picked where you were picked in the Lone Star Conference being mid-April?
That was to be expected. Typically those polls will follow what happened last year, and we struggled a bit last year, but we do have 3 or 4 players back that we were missing last year that were out injured. So we expect some of those to have big years this year. We also brought in a great recruiting class. So we're kind of doubly better this year, having both of those things. So if you look at that poll, you'll also see that we did get a first place vote. And we're striving to go from last to first. And you know, it's going to be a challenge. It's a tough conference. But, you know, we're setting our goals high.
Do you use something like that to motivate your team?
Certainly, yeah. We want all our players to set their goals high for academics, for volleyball, for community service, you name it. So, yeah, we're going to set the bar high, and we're going to push to finish as high as we can, and, also improve along the way. We want to get better as the season goes on, and not just get off to a strong start, but we want to have a strong finish. Thank you very much, and again, hope you can come out on 9/11.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, Coach Gary.
Good afternoon.
You got a QB?
Got 4 of them.
Do you have a starting QB yet?
Got 4 of them.
Is there anything that you're trying to see out of these guys this next week, since you're not comfortable to name a starter yet?
I'd like to have separation. You know, right now, 4 QBs throughout camp. Coach Wright, how many? 12 practices in a scrimmage.
12 practices in the scrimmage.
61% completion, 63% completion, 63% completion, 60% completion. That's great. When I got to 70, it'd be really easy. You know, nobody has done bad. Nobody has eliminated themselves. And I don't know if we've had separation yet at the top. If I go back to 2013 at Tarleton, I went into a season with the exact same situation. The only difference was the 2 guys, there was only 2, were battling, were both seniors. And I could not decide who was going to start, so I started them both. They both took the field for the first snap of the season against number 4 team in the country. We won the ball game. Both those guys played a lot that year. We went on to win conference. At the end of the day, I might not make that decision until we get close. 2013, that decision was made Friday night in the hotel.
So,
And-
okay, sorry.
And I don't, you know, when it's going to happen, I don't know. I would love for it to have already happened. I'd love to have a guy in place. You're the guy. We're going to start game planning and getting ready to go. And we're not there yet.
For you, you've seen Mike and you've seen Cam for the past 2 years, so you feel like you have a good sense of what they bring to the table, though, at least?
For sure, but I'm also seeing a different version of them. You know, Cameron, a guy that, you know, the first couple of years was below 50% completion percentage. He went through the spring, at the top end of 50, and right now he's in 60s. And so I can't just focus on the past and what they've done in the past and say, okay, I got that, now here, let me evaluate you two new guys. Because both these guys have stepped their game up as well. And like I said, they're all very similar.
Do you think this year, like we've done the past 2 years, someone might be starting on Friday night or Saturday, basically, and it might be different every single week, basically, for you guys?
I don't think it'll be different every single week, but there's no doubt at least two are probably going to play. That's just the nature of the game. It's pretty rare that one guy takes you all the way through a season. And so I've shared that with all of them, that we got to expect that two are going to play. They all want to be number one. And we also have that mindset that if they're not number one, they got to be preparing to be number one, because that opportunity is going to come.
Do you anticipate there being a good chance that you could go into that first game as sort of another trial run for this? Or do you kind of want whoever goes out there with the first series to kind of just make that decision by then? Or, are you open to?
Well, I don't want a guy to take the field and still feel like in competition and still feel like he's being evaluated. When we get to that point, it's got to be a time where we take the field with confidence. They're not looking over their shoulder. They're not worried about making the mistakes. And that's how we've tried to be in the past, is that if you're taking the field, hey, you're going to lead us to victory. And extenuating circumstances would, maybe change some things as to the substitution stuff. But we'll cover some of that if we get to it.
Aside from the quarterbacks, because there's a lot of other players on the team. Running back wise, who's really stepped up their game? I looked at the roster. You're going to have a young running back group. So what is it looking like for that group this year?
It looks good. It's one junior and a bunch of freshmen, and the freshmen look good. Leroy Giles ripped off a run for 60, 70 yards. Terrence Hamilton had somewhere a 75, 65-yard touchdown reception. A couple good runs. It's an exciting group. Adrian Walker is lightning quick. Has some nice little juke moves on film and fun to watch. Marquise he's steady Eddie and has done a great job. Expect him to be the workhorse and the leader of that group. And not having Brendan Infiesto back, I don't think we lose a step.
So can we say that some of those guys will want to get redshirted this year?
Right now, it's looking like Terrence Hamilton. The other two true freshmen are Jameel Hodges and Jameel Pittman. One of them might get into the mix. DeMarcus Womack is a guy that joined us in the spring. He's done tremendous through the spring and then fall camp. He just quietly eats up yards.
Did you notice on anything, the defense was able to force several turnovers on Saturday? Two. Were you able, on those plays, did you notice a trend, whether it be something the offense was having trouble with or something the defense was just really doing well?
On one, Frank Kriegbaum, sophomore safety out of El Paso. I thought we were a little late delivering that pass. It was a bad snap, come up, trying to figure everything out, and he made a fantastic play on the ball. And if we're not blowing the play dead, I think he returns it 80 yards for a touchdown. John O'Kelly was the second one, and they brought a blitz from the field, and Cameron went to go throw hot. The receiver didn't go hot, so then he had to come off of it, get to the boundary, and kind of rushed it a little bit. And O'Kelly was in the right spot where he was supposed to be, opportunistic. And I think that both of those are guys doing their job that got them to an opportunity to make a play. And that's the best part about it. Obviously, we got to take better care of the ball. But those guys were doing what they were supposed to be doing and got them in a position to make a play and an impactful play. Both those guys scored touchdowns.
Your offensive line, as you remember said last year, hey, we'd like to have a couple more seconds in the pocket from them, especially when we're passing the ball. Have you seen them able to progress and maybe make that next step this year?
Offensive line looks phenomenal. There was times on film that we could pause it, especially in a run play, and see a tremendous amount of movement, wide open holes for the running backs to take. A lot of that just comes from the tempo that we go at times and try to wear down a defense. And Saturday was no different. And even though that's our defense on the other side, we still want to play the way that we're going to play in the game. And one of Sam's touchdowns, he probably had 8 seconds back there for a guy to run his route, then stop and go back the other direction, and he's still just hanging out, delivers a strike touchdown. It's good to see the offensive line has come a long ways.
I asked you this last week, and again, is there one player that's really stuck out to you the first couple weeks, especially maybe looking at tape on Saturday, that's like, wow, this guy's really stepped it up?
Just a true freshman, Terrence Hamilton, young back. that got here this summer, and he looks amazing. He's a big time running back and is doing well. Just talking about some of the young guys, returners that are stepping it up, all of them are, and nobody's taking a breath. It's fun to watch.
Are there any things that really popped to you on the tape that maybe just, from your vantage point on the field, you weren't able to observe quite as much that you were with the film?
No, I felt like after watching the film, it was all fairly accurate to what I thought coming off the field. I was really impressed with the offense, especially the young guys, the wide receivers, knowing what routes to run, converting routes, getting signals from QBs. And I can't think of really maybe one bust. And that was probably the most exciting thing for me to see, was even our young guys were able to go in and operate and have some success.
Do you think it's going to take like an act of God to pick the quarterback and have them have like that,
We're getting close.
Oh, you're gonna go. So that's what I need.
I gotta be careful what I say. State institution.
That's all I got.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Coach.
Okay, this is junior linebacker Chris Hode.
I'm good. Whenever you're ready.
All right, Chris, we're back here. Another year. We're 2 weeks away from kicking off the start of the year. How do you feel like the team's at right now in training camp?
I feel like we're in good position. I think from the past experiences, we've made a lot of growth, and we're starting out a lot faster than we have in the past.
Defensively, you got to be kind of impressed by what the guys are doing around you every single day. Am I right?
Oh yeah, no, I love it. I mean, we're all doing better, and when everybody's doing their job, we look scary. So we're ready to get it going.
Do you feel like you've learned a lot the past 2 years and taking into year three, and that's where the growth's at?
Yeah, there's always learning experiences, especially when we're young and rewatching old film and everything. You see a lot of mistakes that we're not making anymore, and you definitely grow from those and learn and just try to step it up the next time.
Have you looked at like a 2015 film or 2016 film and you're like, oh my God, how did I do that? What was I doing there? Like that.
I've watched a little bit of it, and yeah, sometimes it's like that. It's like, wow, that's crazy. I don't know what I was doing there, so yeah.
For you, do you care who takes the field on Friday or Saturdays for the quarterback?
No, it's whoever coach is going to name, and that's our guy, and we'll back him 100%, and we'll go win football games with that guy.
You mentioned that you felt like you guys are a lot further ahead than maybe you have been in previous years at this point of the year. Do you feel like a big reason for that is just having so many young guys that joined the program, a few years back, and now with all the experience you guys are getting to this point, you guys are sort of all turning the corner at the same time as you go into your junior, senior years?
Yeah, I think in the past we were always deemed as a young team, but now we have a lot of guys that have played a lot of games in this conference, and we've learned a lot of stuff and seen just about everything. So I think it helps with the starting camp up and everything, and starting faster and getting going better.
What's the feeling in the locker room right now?
Excited. We're ready to get it going.
Do you feel like the leadership's there unlike the past couple of years since you guys are so young?
Yeah, I think we're doing a great job, the older guys, of trying to show some of the young guys the ropes and everything, and I think they're listening and following in good footsteps.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next up is junior wide receiver Christian Brown.
Okay.
KB, how's the wide receiver group been?
It's been good. We got a lot of talented freshmen. And so some of the other guys like myself and Mitch take them under our wing and just kind of do what Coach Gergen says, just kind of prepare them for the season and everything, and I think they're going to be really helpful for us.
Kyle McBride went down last year, and he's a big piece for you guys. How have you seen him kind of recover from his injury and then as well, take that next step and get ready for the season?
Kyle's a great player. I feel like he's going to have a great comeback season. We're just ready to get him out on the field and see what he can do for us.
For you guys, is it like yin and yang with you guys when you're out there? It looks like you guys are just goofballs the whole entire time.
Yeah, we're definitely goofballs. Kyle's my man. We all have a really tight brotherhood. That's one thing that we try to focus on. Be a family, and I feel like we're definitely connecting a lot more than we did in the past, and hopefully that can convert to the field.
I know you said it before, you don't care who passes you the ball, you just want the ball to come to you and you'll score a touchdown. But for you, for the 4 quarterbacks who are out there, what does each one of them do specifically that you like in terms of their game and what they bring to the table?
I feel like they all do a great job. Like Coach Kerrigan said, nobody really stands out. All 4 of them are definitely good enough to start. So whichever Coach Kerrigan picks, we got his back and we're going to back him up and go win some games.
Is it impressive that Taylor Null, a freshman, is sticking up with these guys that are juniors?
Yeah, Taylor's doing a great job. Again, he's right there in the running with the rest of them. So he's going to have to see how it pans out at the end.
Christian, talk about how the offense is different this year than maybe in the past years. What you guys are doing a little different this year.
Like Chris said, I feel like our experience and our seniors and older guys are definitely doing a great job just kind of bringing in the younger guys. And I feel like that experience is going to be a big part of how successful we are this season.